huge pleasure this evening of introducing Tara. I actually wrote this down. Yeah. Tara has worked extensively as an actress in theatre, radio and TV, both here and in the UK. Impressive. Recently you would have seen Tara in the Irish Pictorial Weekly, but personally I know Tara from her satirical videos. So one of the funniest satirical videos I've ever seen is of course the racist B&B. Actually the second funniest satirical video I've ever seen is the case for Mammy Daddy Marriage. Actually, the third possibly funniest satirical video that I've ever seen is Winstitute, which did me the huge favour of letting me know that I just don't need to be thinking, and it's easier if I let someone else do it for me. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me a huge pleasure to welcome Tara Flynn.
Thanks very much for having me. I've got a big camera in the way and I'm very, very short. So if you see a disembodied voice, it's not God, but it's the only one in the world where we had that taken as read. So listen, thanks for coming. I don't really know why I'm here, not in a philosophical sense. I don't really know why you should care what I think about belief. We're Irish, so you know, many of us were brought up Catholic. I know I was. And now I've reached a point where I'm wondering what I am. I don't yet feel I have a set classification, because I'm not a creationist. I believe in evolution and I'm constantly evolving. So what I believe today might be different tomorrow. And the day I stop questioning things, and not in a suspicious way, not in a typically Irish way of what do you mean, but in a kind of a, well, you know, it's like this. Is it? Wouldn't it be a bit more crack if it was like that? That's the kind of questioning I'd like to keep going with. So am I an atheist? I don't know. I don't know what I am. I know that structure doesn't work well for me. I was indoctrinated with Catholicism, like many of us here, for a very long time. So of course I had to rebel against it, first by leaving Mass and then by leaving the church itself, until they stopped us being able to do that online. And if it doesn't happen online, it's not real, as we know. So that was a problem. And so, yeah, constantly questioning, constantly wondering what I am or why I'm here. I would love even the comfort of being able to flat out say I'm an atheist, but I've had a problem as a former Catholic letting go of things like that lovely connection we used to have. Sure, some of it was judgmental and filled with hate, but it was a club. It was a club of a kind, and being out on your own can be lonely, and that's why it's lovely to see so many other lonely people here. You know, we're in it together. Woohoo! You know, I suppose a lot of the times the biggest question is, where do we go when this is all over? I think we go for a nice sleep. That's what I think. I think we get a lovely long sleep, and don't we all deserve a lovely long sleep? I know I do, and a lot of people would like to put me there. So. I've written loads of stuff down, but I suppose for me, when I talk about belief, what I believe is in what makes sense. I love all the stories. I didn't just ditch Catholicism without thinking. I went to Jerusalem. I did. I was interrogated at the airport, taken away for 5 hours. They said, have you got somebody special in Israel? I don't know why they had Russian security guards, but I said, no, I'm not meeting anybody special in Israel. Why are you going? And I said, because I'm curious. Because I've heard so much about the place since the age of 4. Now, I didn't hear it before that. My parents aren't particularly religious. My dad is in a nursing home now, so every now and again, he vacillates. Every now and again, he'll go, I want communion, and the next day he'll go, get out of here, you fucking liar, when the priest comes around. So it's hard to know where he stands. My mum was never a real believer because her dad was an absolute believer. My granddad was one of the kindest, gentlest people you could meet, and he had a damnation complex. He was convinced that he was going to hell. And it surfaced as almost a nervous breakdown. He was so convinced he was going to hell he couldn't function in his life. And a very, very, very kind priest took him aside and said, all that sin that you feel you have on your head, all of it, I take all of it on mine. I take it all on my soul. You're free, you're clean, out you go. Now that worked for my granddad. I don't know that it would work for me, but it worked for him. It meant that he could go back to practicing, and that was what made him happy. So he was able to do it. When my mother heard that story and when I heard that story, all that stayed with us was, how can anything that makes someone feel, someone that really believes in it, that makes them feel that awful about themselves, that affects their mental health, that affects their wellness, how can that work? How can that make sense? So what I'm looking for is something that makes sense. And I know I'm going to sound to you guys, I'm not an expert at all. I'm not an expert in anything. As I say, I'm still questioning. I have no answers. So I'm still on a constant pursuit of answers. But sense is relatively easy to find. Sense is, for me, it's compassion, it's kindness, it's in not telling someone else how they should live. And with the videos that I've made, it's if someone is very loudly and very often presenting a relatively sensible looking face and saying that things should be done one way and one way only, then it's time to push back. And I prefer to do that with humour than sit there and lecture somebody or go, no, it's because this, you know, this philosopher said that. That's all very interesting, but I prefer the fable of the sun and the wind, Aesop's fable, where the wind blows hard and they're trying to both make the man take the coat off. He won't take his coat off in the forceful wind, he takes his coat off in the warm and gentle sun. That's the way I prefer to approach things. Now at any stage, if anyone has any questions or wants to throw stuff at me, please do, because as I say, no answers Flynn, that's my new nickname. My background, as I say, was not very religious parents, but a very religious upbringing. I was, of course, baptised 3 days in for insurance purposes, and you can't get out of that. Can't get out of the insurance. And from there, I went to a Catholic school. I went to the nuns. Now they were great nuns. There have been terrible nuns down through the years. We've heard more about terrible nuns just in the news today. But these were pretty great nuns, and we had a lot of lay teachers mixed in, so that was all very good. So again, we were able to question things a bit. But they gave us some memories that are still implanted. And I remember one for me that ended up in my stand-up when I was doing stand-up, and people all thought I was being sacrilegious, but I wasn't at all. But I remember that at one stage we were taken from Kinsale in County Cork, we were taken down to Mass for a school outing. They go to Disneyland now, but we had Mass. We were taken to Mass for a school outing, just down in the regular old parish church. And one of the girls from the bad side of Kinsale, there were about 3 people there and 5 people on the other side. But she came back from communion and she was going with the host in her mouth. And about 6 nuns swooped down from whatever rafter they were perching on. They rugby tackled her to the ground and they went, "You don't chew the Lord. You suck the Lord. You hold the Lord in your mouth until he dissolves." That's almost exactly what they said. And that was only made more bizarre by, we had to have a few communion drills after that, where we got silver mints. They said, well, we're not going to say it, because obviously it's not the body of our Lord. Now, I'm no priest. So what we're going to do is I'm going to say, this is a sweet, and you're going to say, it is. This is a sweet, it is. And it dissolved away in our mouths, like the Lord himself. So, no, what I mean, when people used to say to me when I was doing that stand-up, that's sacrilegious, it's gone, people would go, oh! It's like, no, that is what they said, because that's literally what they're talking about. That's what they are asking me to accept, is that this is the Lord, and I shouldn't chew him. So why can't I do stand-up about it? Although, I've been watching those Rennie ads lately, and they say that it's only Catholics who believe in transubstantiation, but Rennie takes excess stomach acids and turns it into water. So I'm not sure. Maybe we should stay open to everything. So yeah, that's all. I suppose what's also missing for me from my extensive notes, rambling notes, is crack. That's the thing that's missing. For me, if I ever were to find a God, that there is a God, I'd love to think that there were. Wouldn't it be a nice, comforting thing? That there's somebody out there minding us, and the buck doesn't stop here. I don't have to take responsibilities. There's someone else looking out for me. I think that's a lovely, lovely idea, but it doesn't work for me. But if there is one, I'm pretty sure he's good crack, or she, whatever he or she wants to be. There's definitely crack there, because creativity comes from crack. You know, joy, love, peace, all those things that are pushed by religions and seem to be so shockingly absent. And I would love it if there was a bit more crack involved. Maybe that would bring a lot of people back. I think a lot of people are dismayed at the moment in Ireland by the joyless nature. People are being pushed away from real faith. And as I say, I'm not anti-Catholic at all. Some of you who follow me on Twitter will have read this. You know, I'm not anti-Catholic. Some of my best parents are Catholics. And they're being pushed away. Some of my staunchest Catholic relatives are being pushed away by hypocrisy and, you know, a really staunch, immutable stance. People who aren't flexible, people who aren't humane. And I just think it's really, really sad. I think there's room for us all. There's room for everything that you believe. It's a really big planet, and you can have whatever you want. You can eat meat. You can be vegetarian. You can believe in God. You can believe that you know, supporting walls aren't necessary. You can believe whatever you want. Physics and facts might confound you, but it doesn't matter. You can believe it, as long as you don't force it on anybody else. But people are forcing things on other people, and that's when I like to push back. I like to use ridicule to say, listen, that's nonsense. Now, do it in your own house. That's absolutely fine. Wear a black hood while you're doing it. I don't care. But when you bring it onto my lawn, when it is visited upon my life or the lives of those I care about, and you're telling them how they should be, I have to say no. I have to say no. No, not even, you know, piss off, or I don't have to punch them. I do have to push. I have to push back and just say, stop. Stop there. And that's what I try to do with the videos. That's all they are. Is really, it's not about taking the piss out of someone's faith. And I have been slammed for that. I've been slammed for God's sake, I've been slammed for being racist, for racist B&B. Also, I've been slammed for trying to take down the hospitality industry in this country. Because I am a total bitch like that. But that's not the case. The case isn't that I'm taking the piss out of faith or anything like that, because as you've heard, I think it's great. If it gives someone comfort, I'm all for it. And it'll save on psychiatry bills down the line. Fabulous. But they've got to people just have to butt out. And it's time then to make a video and say, all right, let's have a laugh while we're doing it. Let's have some of the crack I've been talking about. I feel like I'm rambling now. I don't know if there's anything else I can really add. You guys are the experts. You talk about this sort of stuff all the time. I don't know any of the atheist texts, as I say. I just know it makes sense. I'm going to see if there's anything else I'm leaving out. Let's see. Creativity, joy, wonder, blah, blah, blah. Domination complex, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, transubstantiation. Yeah, that's pretty much everything I needed to say. Apart from, keep questioning. You know, go to Jerusalem if you have to, go to Bethlehem. What they'll tell you there is, I mean, if you have gone to Bethlehem and seen the site that they say is the site of the manger, unless you're Greek Orthodox, then it's over there. Think, well, if there are Chinese whispers involved, even here, you know, there's obviously room for these things not to be taken literally. And it's probably good not to take anything literally, especially what I say. You know, when I put a video up or something, all I'm asking is for people to question it and just let's talk about it, let's start a dialogue and let's keep going. But if you find that your faith muscles aren't tickled, that's probably not a technical term, but if your faith muscles aren't tickled by 50 Japanese tourists singing Silent Night around the actual spot where the manger was laid, religion probably isn't for you. And it isn't for me. But I'm out to be disproved, or, you know, let's see what's out there. And I mean, that's really all I have to say. This isn't a lecture, so I'd love to take any questions. And thank you for having me. Why should you care? Question everything I've said. Thank you very much for listening. Thanks so much.